Hey, there you are. Welcome back. Episode 38. Today, my guest is Ricky from Roma Devices. Ricky has a pedal startup and he's killing it out there with the Conviction pedal. I'll link below to a review of this pedal on Pedal of the Day, another great YouTube channel here. Check it out. It sounds terrific. I had a great chat with Ricky. I find it fascinating to learn how people come about building pedals and how they work. Great chat, a lot of fun. Please like, please subscribe, please enjoy. Let's get into it. What is up, Ricky? Thank you for joining the club. How are you?
Pretty good, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm
Nice to
doing
be here.
well. Nice to meet you too. I'm glad that you're here and I'm excited to talk to you about your pedals and your pedal business. Tell me about yourself. Where are you? And tell me about your business.
Yeah, so we're based in Newark, New Jersey. We're right here around New York. We've been in business for around a year now, and the official production line from Conviction has been out since last December of 2025.
Yeah.
We basically been trying to focus on a pedal that works from a greedy overdrive to a more gated fuzz kind of area. So we released the Conviction right around December, and it's been great.
That's awesome. Well, congrats on that. I follow you on Instagram. I'll link your links below. But tell me, like, how did this pedal come into fruition? Was there a need that you were trying to solve? Did people come to you with things that they wanted to have in a pedal? Tell me about that, like how it came to be.
Yeah, so I've had an idea for a circuit probably for around a year and a half, 2 years now that I've been working on. I worked with it with multiple friends and other musicians that have played with me through the years. I've been a musician for 20 years now,
Hmm.
mostly in the worship community, and
Nice.
then did my own bands outside as well. And we've been basically talking back and forth about a drive that was really compressed, that we could go from a medium grid overdrive to a more fuzz sound with a turner knob, that we could have a good filter of tone options and a good amount of volume on tap. And we ended up with the Conviction.
Hmm.
It's basically a silicon-based transistor overdrive that goes into a fuzz territory using a circuit manipulation topology that we worked on. That basically, in the last 20% of the gain knob, it collapses on itself. So it creates this gated fuzz effect, which is very, very interesting. But for the first 80% of the gain knob, you have a lot of overdrive on tap, so you can actually get pretty greedy with your tones there.
That's amazing. So you're obviously you have some sort of electrical engineering type experience, right? Like, how do
Yeah,
you know? Like, how did you? Like you said, you had an idea about a circuit. Like that is just I can't. My brain can't comprehend how you can take like a sound and think about it in regards of like electronics, electricity, and circuitry. Can you tell me a little bit about how you learned all that stuff?
sure. So I learned from my dad.
Yeah.
My dad taught me electronics when I was younger. We started doing, uh, I don't know if you remember, you probably do. In Radio Shack, they had these kits to do different things, like little LEDs that would turn on in a specific pattern, or
Yeah.
you would do like different little radios and stuff that
Yeah.
you can do with transistors. So my dad would have me do those, and we would do them together when I was a kid. So I have always had an understanding of how the components work and what does a resistor do and a capacitor do and how to make them work together. But I've always been curious about how do they work in audio signals, because
Yeah.
that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's for me, it was like, okay, so if I see a pedal, I understand how to turn the LED on and off. That's
Hmm.
not an issue, and how to wire it up together. But how does it affect the sound that I'm listening to when I play the guitar?
Yeah.
Because I'm also a musician, and I connect into like my amps and other stuff. And I always think, we had that tube type of technology which works completely differently, and we have to understand in another way. But once we get into the pedals and we see all these little boxes change your sound so much, I start to wonder, well, how does that happen? And I went really into that uh, probably around 2 years ago,
Hmm.
trying to find an overdrive that worked for me. I've been this gear acquisition syndrome issue that we all have.
Yeah.
I've had that issue for a while. So I've ran through a lot of pedals because pedals are, let's say, more accessible. So you're
Yeah.
able to, take, instead of like uh, two or three expensive amplifiers, you can buy a lot of pedals with the same amount of money.
For sure.
Uh, so I've been able to try a lot of pedals, different overdrives, different distortions, and different fuzzes. And I was trying to create a sound that would be the drive that I hear in my head when I want to stomp into it and say, okay, this is the sound that I want when I stomp into this box, and I don't have to tweak anything. I just want it to just be the sound that I
Yeah.
always wanted to hone in. And I started doing little recordings of my breadboards, sending it back and forth between my friends that are musicians so they can hear it in, better quality in their headphones and stuff,
Hmm.
to give me some feedback of, is this a good sound? Is it a great idea? Does it need more bass, more treble? And how do I take it to a point that it's not only agreeable for my ear, but also agreeable for other people's ears?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool. So you had that tone in your head, and you were chasing that sound that you wanted to get. Now, when you bought all these pedals, like call them research pedals, are you taking them apart and trying to figure out like how they're doing what they're doing? Yeah. Right.
Oh, most definitely. For me, I've always been curious about schematics and how to
Hmm.
get the schematics into the PCB that all these pedals use, and how do they work? Like, what is connected to what, and all this. So yeah, I went through basically the, let's say, original topologies of the tone bender and the fuzz phase and the maestro fuzz tone, and all of these pedals that basically created a lot of these sounds. And how do they work together? Why does some of them get way cleaner when you turn your volume back in your guitar versus other, they just don't clean up, and they're always greedy across the volume range of your guitar. Like, I wanted to understand those intricacies of the circuits, and then try to make a circuit that would behave in a useful way for me, that I could use live, that I could turn it up in my volume of my guitar and get more of like a lead sound versus modifying the gain to be more like in rhythm and be able to go back and forth, but that it would pop enough that you would see a change between lead and rhythm in a way that makes sense without having to bend down and start touching buttons on your pedal and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so I think most of the industry goes from, let's see, what can we add and how many buttons can we add. I try to go the other way. I'm trying to take stuff out. Like, if I could just use this amp, this pedal, and my guitar, and just live with that, that's way better than carrying all this other stuff around.
Yeah.
And it's around the whole concept of the pedal. The circuit, also the design. If you see the pedal, it doesn't have descriptions for what is gain, tone, or volume. It's just the name of the pedal and a blank slate. Because I found that it was more intuitive to say red knob is gain, middle is usually how you shape your tone,
Hmm.
and then when it leaves the circuit, then you control the output. So I try to simplify things as much as possible. So those circuits are much more analog than I guess other things that you would see out there.
How long did it take you to like do the trial and error, like sort of putting a product together that like how much experimentation was there before you got what you feel like was it?
Yeah, so I would say that there was a full year
Mm-hmm.
of going back and forth between circuits, and you know, there's also you need to give your ear time to kind of adjust to the
Mm-hmm.
sound because you
Mm-hmm.
if you're like 5 days, 7 days in a row working on the circuit, and then you leave for a weekend or a couple of days and you come back to it, you might hear it differently.
Yeah.
Um, so you know that there was a lot of that too, and I gave ample time for the people that were helping me with the circuit as well to listen and to just tell me. And I also made a lot of prototypes that
Yeah.
I sent out that were kind of like mid versions, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were never completely finished, but I wanted them to not only hear like an audio sample, but also be able to play it, you know, and just get to know the circuit in their own rig. So you know that was a big part of it too, making sure that everybody that I was working with felt that you know whatever decisions were going on in the circuit were good to move forward. That yeah, you could stack the pedals with different pedals and it would be an issue. That you could have the pedal be used with different amps or guitars and it wouldn't be an issue, and that it would be agreeable among those things.
Yep. Do you usually put it where in line do you put it in on your board? Does it come say after reverb or where do you like to put it?
Yeah, so usually I've tested multiple ways of doing this
I'm
because
sure.
you
Yeah.
really get like different textures. Um, I usually do it after the fuzz and before modulation effects. So I
Yeah.
keep myself in that classic scheme
Yeah.
of where it should go. But I've tried it everywhere. It sounds really interesting if you put a reverb before it, or if you push like different modulation effects. Like after chorus, it's amazing. Like if you use overdrive and chorus at the same time with different other ambient effects, it really does like a really good thing. So yeah, and also like it's very interesting to say, for example, where it should go in the order of overdrives and distortions. Like there's a lot of people that put the overdrives before the distortions, but I was looking at other content on the internet the other day, just trying to flip that around. Did we miss the way that we organize pedals? Should we do something different here? Like it's a really interesting question to ask, but I think it's all about your creativity, you know, like
Yeah.
your choice. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it is. It's fun to think about, and it's so much fun to experiment with that kind of stuff. Like, what
yeah,
happens if I do this? So that's cool. Tell me about like the actual physical manufacturing of the pedal.
yeah.
So, like the circuit board is what's in the case, of course. But I picture, is it like sheet metal that you get like that you bend on top? Like, how do you actually put it together?
Okay,
And
so
what kind of
yeah, so
materials?
in my case, for this production line, we're using Hammond style enclosures, which
Hmm.
are pre spec'd to be a certain size
Yeah.
and form. So we use the 1590 double B enclosures for the conviction. We have them painted, and then we hand drill them. We do the laser etching for all of the enclosures,
Hmm.
and we do all the assembly of the PCB and all the components, hand soldering, hand wiring, and we get it out the door to the customer.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so you're buying like the container. You're buying that pre-done. Is that right? Like the
Yeah, those Hammond style enclosures are usually pre-done,
yeah.
and then you just how do you say, order them to be painted
Yeah.
elsewhere, or you can also paint them yourself. We have it painted, and for consistency, and
Hmm.
then we laser etch the design
Gotcha.
into the paint in house.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's almost like there's probably did you put a lot of thought into the paint and what it looks like? Because pedals nowadays are almost like wine bottles. You know, you're buying it based on what it looks like and what design you like. Did you guys put a lot of thought into your like the I guess the marketing aspect of it like that?
Well, we did in the sense that we wanted a product that would be simple,
Hmm.
that would strike, across some people, and that would be different that what you would see out there. We chose a hammered finish,
Nice.
uh, and we're trying to also get into this topic and brand of Roma.
Hmm.
Being built on a long-lasting thing that could last for hundreds of years, and that has a lot of history and stuff behind it. So we're trying to do it like hammered steel. If you see the pedal, it has like this hammer steel enclosure, but the base paint is black. So when you laser etch the hammer steel, it shows you the black underneath. So it's able to do a real good contrast when you
Yeah.
do those laser etchings. Um, and we also decided to do different choices of design with our PCBs. The quality of our components, it's pretty high. We use the highest quality components that are available in the market that are not out of production.
Hmm.
So we try to keep it as high as possible, all through hole components. Uh, and yeah, we're trying to keep as much as we can of the process and the manufacturing in house.
Hmm.
Um, and also, we are trying to see uh, the options of bringing USA made manufacturing of other pieces from other companies that we partner with here to supply our stuff and make that part of the official production line.
Nice. That's awesome. Has that been challenging to find like the quality here? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a problem of trying to find the right, let's say, organizations that are dealing with this kind of product. It's a
Yeah.
very limited space. So finding people that are not just resupplying stuff from the outside and they're actually making it in-house, it's
Right.
pretty challenging.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. That's interesting. Um, Now, you just started a few months ago getting these out into the public. Tell me about how you're doing that. Is it a lot of word of mouth, or I know you've got the website. I'll link that below. Your Instagram page is awesome too. Link that as well. But tell me about how it's been because it's a different challenge, right? And it's one thing making them and getting it to where you like it, and it's a different challenge selling it and getting it out there. Tell me about
Right.
how that's been going.
Yeah, so we basically, our first step was to have our website out there with
Mhm.
all our selections. And then we started going through our Instagram page and working on that as well. It's been our our main source of traffic right now.
Instagram, huh?
Uh, Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And we are going to basically keep it that way. We're have different relationship with dealers that are going to be releasing conviction in the next couple of months. We actually have a release in this. I don't know when this podcast coming out. It might be already released when this podcast is out. But we have a release coming soon with a dealer in Texas. So we would be out there in different dealers. We're also opening in Europe with another dealer that is going to be basically exclusively handling our product over there.
Hmm.
Um, and other than that is direct sales. So if you
Yeah.
go to our website, that's basically the structure. In terms of getting the word out there, We've been working with different friends and collaborators of the channel, and we've been able to, you know, bring friends to try the pedal,
Hmm.
understand and come to a decision if it's something that they would actually like or not. And we've had pretty good results. People like the pedal when they try it. They think it's a good product, and they usually speak good about it when somebody asks. So we've had the slow word of mouth
Yeah.
process of trying to, get some trust behind the brand.
Yeah, word of mouth is where it's at. That's you want to keep honing in on that.
So,
So tell me about like, do you feel like what do you play for a guitar and what do you play for an amp, and do you feel like you have like the perfect combination for your pedal, or tell me a little bit about your gear.
yeah, so I usually play. I have a Les Paul
Hmm.
that I play, but I usually play like a more Telecaster style guitar
Hmm.
that I have, which I've modded in some ways to my ear. Um, I'm really uh, selective about amps because of the sound, so I usually go with something different. I'm using right now the Tyler HM18
Hmm.
from Tyler Amps. They have a really good selection there of amps. I usually use in my workshop, I have a 5 watt Morgan. Those are, I'm not sure how available are those in production on his line, but usually like a 5 watt amp of any good brand usually works for like workshop style production.
Yeah.
And then yeah, usually I try to go back and forth between that Les Paul humbucker style and that Telly style, so I can try and get as much sounds as I can for the pedal.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to try everything. Yeah, very cool. That's awesome. Well, Ricky, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I wish you the best luck with your endeavor. I think it's so cool. I love people who make stuff and use their creativity to put something out in this world. So congrats on doing that and best of luck.
Thank you, Brian. One last thing I wanted to
Yeah.
point out. Uh, in our webpage, we have a part that's called Friends of the Forum.
Hmm.
Friends of the Forum is a page that we post other builders, other creators, and other very good people that are working on the bench.
Hmm.
For people that don't go to my website and for some reason don't want to buy my pedal, they can go to these other builders and go to see their products instead of going to a Sweetwater or Guitar Center and any other way directly. They can go to these other amazing builders that are doing great work and they can check their products out. So I encourage everybody to go to the section of Friends of the Forum as well when they visit our website, and they can check all these amazing builders
That's
and see their
awesome.
products.
That is so cool. I love that you're doing that. And tell what's the website again, just for people.
Yes, it's www.romadevices.com.
Yep, and I'll link that below. That's so cool that you do that, man, because what you put out there comes back to you, you know?
That's right.
So,
That's right.
well, Ricky, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to watching your success grow, and it's been great chatting with you.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, peace.